Hello, everyone. Welcome. We'll have more people coming in, but I want to welcome you. Thank you for coming. I'm Amy Thompson. I'm director of the Folk Center for International Business. We're very excited about tonight and our special guest. We are hosting this as part of our Pathways Speaker Series. This is an event that we hold when we have special guests here at the Moore School for students, but we wanted to open it up to the public because of our special guest tonight. We think you're going to really enjoy this discussion and performance. The Pathways, again, is set up for students to learn from people who visit our school from all over the world, to learn about their career paths. And one underlying theme that I can assure you is there is no straight path to your career. And we learn that from everyone who comes here. Everyone has a different and fascinating story to tell. We're excited because this is a collaboration of the Moore School of Business and the USC School of Music. And we're very excited to have this joint collaboration to share this visitor with not only our students, but the students at the School of Music. This is also an event that is coordinated with the Center for International Business Education Research, also known as CYBER, the original CYBER, not with a Y. And we work very closely together to host these events here at the Moore School, so we're thrilled to be a part of it. I would like to acknowledge some special guests before we start the program. Greg Niehaus is our newly appointed interim dean. Welcome, thank you for being here. Coming in later will be Jerry McDermott, chair of the International Business Department, as well as Taylor Harding, the dean of the USC School of Music. He had an event to attend. He'll be coming in just a little while. And I also want to acknowledge Julie Hubbard and Emily Ruth Allen for the School of Music. Thank you so much for working with Markey on getting this program together. Thank you. I'd also like to introduce our moderators, my colleague with CYBER, Markey Jones. She's a clinical assistant professor of international business. And Jeremy Pauley, he is assistant professor and director of the Music Industry Studies program. Thank you. So we'll have our fireside chat, and then we'll have a Q&A. Byung-Won Ha over there. If you have questions during that time, please raise your hand, and all of our student ambassadors have the flu, so he's volunteered to take questions, so he'll be running up and down the steps getting your questions, but we look forward to having you participate. Just some housekeeping notes. This is being recorded, and we look forward to sharing it with you when it's done. And we joke and say somebody's a rock star when they're really good at what they do, but we really are going to meet a rock star tonight. I'm very excited. But I want to turn it over to Markey to introduce our special guest.
Thank you so much, Amy. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Pathways Series event. Tonight's program is an evening with Kim Se Hwang, The Sound of Strategy, Music, Culture, and Global Business. I'm delighted to be here tonight to moderate this conversation with my colleague here, Jeremy Pauley. It's an honor and a privilege to introduce you to our distinguished guest, Kim Se Hwang, an internationally acclaimed guitarist, composer, educator, and executive, whose career spans rock, pop, K-pop, classical, and contemporary music. As the lead guitarist for the influential Korean rock band Next, he popularized K-pop and the pop-rock crossover. He also contributed to the global explosion of K-pop. He is the first guitarist to be inducted in the Hollywood Rock Walk of Fame from South Korea and has performed as a soloist for the London Symphony Orchestra and iMusica di Roma, and in collaboration with Chick Cora. Widely respected for bridging music genres and cultures. Please join me in welcoming Kim Se Hwang.
Hello. Thank you, everybody, for your precious time. I'm really, very, very thankful for the great introduction, Dr. Jones. I respect Dr. Jones so much, and it is due to her. Oh, try that one. Oh, okay. Okay. Things happen. Hello, everybody. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for your time. I'm really grateful. I'm very honored to be here. I love South Carolina. I don't want to go back. I respect Dr. Jones. I'm very, very honored to receive the kind invitation to participate on this trip. I look up to her so much for so many years, and life has some amazing moments, and this trip has definitely become that. And during this trip, I noticed that it snows all the time here every day, right? It looks beautiful. Oh, it was like a postcard. And I couldn't just geek out, just enjoying the moment. Every single moment was like a gift to me. So I would like to show my appreciation to the atmosphere and, of course, the amazing school you have. I've been enjoying the facilities, the design's amazing, and of course the reputation of your department is very, very high. And it's my great honor, especially as a guitar player, to be here. And I cannot express how honored I am. My parents would be very proud of me for having me here. So thank you for having me again.
Thank you so much, Se Hwang. We'd like to start off the night with a conversation about the K-pop and global business phenomenon. And K-pop has become one of Korea's strongest global exports. From your perspective as a K-pop executive now, what are the key business strategies that allowed the industry to expand so successfully into global markets?
The softer version would be there's no choice other than to be successful because of the environmental reasons. An economical explanation could be the drastic rise of over 10% per year in GDP, which is a lot, which continued for over 32 years, which is a phenomenon. Dr. Jones had referred to this phenomenon as the miracle on the Han River. So there's no place on earth with economical rise for over 32 years, over 10% of living quality. I remember back in the day, it wasn't as plentiful as it is now. Now it's maybe overwhelming. And I'm really glad over the years that Dr. Jones and we had been in Seoul together too, and I took her out to a movie with her students, right, to see the newest Wonder Woman 4D. So that was good, and yes, I think the good answer would be there's no alternative but to Seoul.
Okay, thank you. How do entertainment agencies like Beat Interactive think about entertaining new international markets, North America, Latin America, Europe, Southeast Asia, and what differs by each region?
Oh, very interesting question. So formerly, I was the head of K-pop for the Ministry of Culture of Republic of Korea in 2016. I was awarded by the government for the results of what happened. So the key word here is result. We go through tasks that are very competitive and very difficult. And when we're starting something, it seems like it cannot be possible at times. And I've been through that many, many times in my life. Earlier today, I'm holding a guitar today in front of you, but would you believe having a guitar amp at a popular music scene where I was active was not common? And I think maybe Professor Ha would remember that as well. And being loud or, being in a certain fashion like long hair and, a certain look was inappropriate in the scene. It was considered to be. So we've had some hurdles in life, so we were accustomed to it, and we're on our next chapter. I think it's like chapter 9 in that aspect now. So just recently in December, I had a #1 on Amazon Music with New Beat, which is a startup boy group, a K-pop boy group, and the song is called "Look So Good." So I'm very, very honored and thankful for the continued results that we've enjoyed. And basically, I think it's all making sense when we put all the puzzles in together of what works. If you could term it in like data-driven, that could be a way to express it, but just put all the formulas together.
Thank you. Yeah, earlier you talked about the conversion of all these different aspects that really bring together K-culture and how that influences the entertainment industry. You also previously served in roles where with the South Korea government to help promote K-pop globally, and you were, you were praised for this, and from the South Korean government. Can you talk about the relationship between K-pop and cultural diplomacy and South Korea's soft power strategy?
Oh, yes, very simple. We wanted to fit in. We want to get along. We wanted to be cool. But, at certain times, there's no complaint in studying, and I love to study, and I respect your institution so much. But, some people like to refer to like people with glasses as, geeks or in school. But I kind of like, working hard, and we've enjoyed it, and I think that's why we're all here today, and we respect what we do. So I think the main agenda is to be cool. I know this sounds out of place and weird, but that's actually what it is by heart. Mm-hmm. The Korean government wanted to promote Korean people to be cool. They wanted the Korean people to look beautiful and handsome. That was the agenda, because a few decades ago, the situation wasn't like really for it. So it's hard to get by, just to have the food on the table, so to speak. But now it's, everybody celebrating a lot of great looks, I would say.
Good. And do you think other countries or cultural industries could learn from Korea's model of blending culture and business?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And we saw it on the spot. I was living in Washington, D.C., but I was traveling back and forth to South Korea a lot, mainly during summer and winter vacations to see my grandparents. But we saw on the spot how different every year, if not 6 months, was so different. It was changing so drastically. And I think I saw a similar change in mainland China after it opened up. I've been visiting from the late 2000s. I know some of our professors here, they were visiting from earlier on, so they probably saw before what I saw. So the change in such a short time, in one generation, had, I think, a lot of economical developments intact. So Korea had been through that right before the development of mainland China, and there were exercises in the 1970s called the New Village Movement, led by the president at the time. And he wanted prosperity for the people, which I think now worked. And Korean people are very proud of the result. And it was very devastating. I think former President Obama. He was going to Kenya and made a speech as South Korea as an example, how the economy could be developed in a very short time. So I've been giving my point of interest to our beautiful students all day today, how that was possible. There's no raw materials or resources such as oil or steel in the peninsula. So the main resource is human labor. And human labor is just, again and again, I'm sorry to say the same old thing, but it's just pure hard work and ethics and diligence, I would say. So those are the key factors that drove the economy way up. And I think one of your neighbors is one of the biggest companies from Korea called Samsung. And I think another neighbor, I know they're nearby, LG, and just a few states nearby, Hyundai and Kia and etc. And it's on the news with good news. Like they make heavy investments in the area to make factories and like facilitate the updated version of their manufacturing capacities.
Yes, absolutely, that's right. There's quite a bit of foreign direct investment here in South Carolina.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've noticed that. We were talking earlier about how fast things move, and in Korea, recovering from the Korean War was a very fast pace, and the innovation took off very, very quickly. And I think this also is showcased with K-pop taking off so quickly as like a global phenomenon, right? So as your role as the Chief Entertainment Officer at Beat Interactive, how do you balance the artistic vision that and with the business realities, the market demand and the global scheduling, investments? How do you balance all of your creative work with your executive leadership?
Oh, okay. Well, the honest answer is I love video games, so I was accustomed to playing video games and not getting caught by my parents and doing the homework in time. So it's multitasking from childhood. So being an artist, make my own albums and try to be as good as possible with that. But I have other roles. The mother company is a holdings company called Hanchang, which had been an OEM manufacturing partner for Samsung from 1963. And Hanchang Corporation provides services regarding steel, plastic, chemical, and real estate development. And at a time, it made chips too. And at a time, it made the whole mobile device phone itself in the late 90s and the 2000s. So time passes by. We're in 2024 and afterwards. So manufacturing is no longer interesting with not enough profit margins for Korean corporations due to a lot of its manufacturing having moved to other regions, which has more interest, such as Shenzhen and Guangzhou, Jiashan, Tianjin, and Borneo, Indonesia. And actually, Borneo, Indonesia manufactures more than half of the guitars in the world today. So these are examples of how, like Gibson guitars, they're from Memphis and Nashville, and Fenders from Fullerton, and things and rolls, Orange amps from UK in London. They moved on due to production cost reasons, if not other reasons as well. So I try to balance as much as possible. Hanchang is a corporation. It has 9 subsidiaries, including a chemical company. So I'm a guitar player, but I had to sell a chemical company this year, like almost a year ago. And we got a good deal out of it. I was expecting, honestly, less than 40 million. The end sale price was over 70 million, which was pretty good. So, and okay, well, the deal was, okay, well, you want to do music, then, sell this company, do your business with that, and let's see how it goes. And we have other shareholders, including our mother company, they're pretty significant. And We're very, very honored to be able to continue. Just work hard, be diligent, be dedicated, put your heart and soul into it. Whatever you do, it's okay. And if you don't know anything, just don't be afraid to ask.
Sounds wonderful. I've definitely noticed the hard work that you've done over the years. And I'd like to ask a question about the role that the digital platforms play, YouTube, TikTok, global streaming. Can you talk a little bit about how that borderless music industry is today?
Oh, yes. Putting it in simple terms, again, putting the right puzzles together. So I think if I listen to the successful stories of the previous projects, if I do that, it'll raise the possibilities to a high extent, right? So I wanted to find out what platforms we should be featured on most. So the recent big success was, okay, well, I asked young people, so what's the platform to be? So they said TikTok. Okay, then I studied TikTok. So I'm a musician. I love songs that are classical music, Mozart, Beethoven, Vivaldi, and classical music is usually very long. But I like its artistry by heart. But it's today, and how young people consume content, apparently in 2022 was less than 15 seconds on average. People listen to a song, the average time span in 2022 was 15 seconds. That's all they listen to. So I thought to myself, okay, let's hit a home run within 15 seconds. If we can't do that, then we're gonna fail. And like, this is typical now. Every K-pop label, mostly, they have a lot of staff, hundreds of staff who's depending on you to make the right decisions so that they could continue their endeavors too. And it's been quite good. So in 2023, after putting all the puzzles together of what could work, we became the #1 song of the year on TikTok with 50/50 Cupid. And maybe Professor Ha, he might know, maybe. So it was an unexpected surprise, and it's very uncommon for a startup to come suddenly and just take that spot. It's very unusual. But I've done it multiple times, and that was the secret sauce. Just take away your own personal Vivaldi, Mozart, Beethoven loving guy. Just leave that at home. And your role is to be successful for your company and take your project to the top. So those moments were pretty good. So just try to keep it going.
Thank you so much. I'd like to turn it over now to Professor Pauly to have a discussion with you about the music side of things.
So first off, thank you again for being here. We spoke a bit earlier today about musicality and intention. So where I'd like to start is discussing blending of genres as a personal performer. You move between rock, classical, jazz, and global styles. When you hear a piece of music, what tells you how it wants to be played? And how do you keep those worlds connected without losing their identity?
Oh, that's a very good question. Okay, so basically, growing up in McLean, Virginia, Churchill Elementary School, I was a geek in school. All I did was just study. Nobody remembered my name. I'm saying this again and again. It's just, we all have a crush on somebody at school, right? And there's that one person that everybody's looking at. So it was everybody's dream to fulfill what she was into. She was into Jimi Hendrix. And she thought Purple Haze was cool. So, there you go. So I copied Jimi Hendrix's Purple Haze from 1969 Woodstock just because she said so. That was a very simple reason and very simple inspiration. And that work ethic, don't stop to this day. It just kept going. And There was a TV show, Entertainment Tonight. I remember when Journey had just released Open Arms, and Steve Perry and Neil Sean, they had an interview on television. Oh, she's laughing. Maybe she remembers too. So Steve Perry gave a beautiful interview like a vocalist star would. Neil Sean said something that I will never forget. The guitar is a sexy instrument. It appeals to the audience. You want to look good and sexy to your fans. That's what the guitar is. That hit me like boom. That's my life. Let's go. And again, I was still in elementary at the time, but I told my dad, that's what I'm gonna be, Dad. And he was like, no, you're not. You're gonna study. And you're gonna be a high-level diplomat or a politician. And your uncles are like the highest people in the world. No, what are you talking about? Why you want to be like that? Like, they're bums. Like, no, they're not. They're my heroes. So, we had this little debate, and, I'm keep going back to our parents, but my mom was a referee, and she's a classical guitar player, so she had to give up her career due to marriage. So at the time in Korean society, which was very conservative, she was performing at theaters called the Sejong Art Center and etc., which is considered very prestigious, right before marriage. So she enjoyed superstar fandom for over several years, and she got married, and immediately her career ended. So she was for me in continuing the effort. So basically, those pure reasons in the environment was very energetic in pursuing what we do. It was so energetic that it continues to this day.
So all these different backgrounds then find their way into the collaborations that you've done. And you've performed with groups as varied as the London Symphony Orchestra and Chick Corea. What did those experiences teach you about valuable musician skills like listening, trust, and then finding common ground with musicians who don't share your cultural background?
Wow, amazing question. I will say this. I've performed with I Musici di Roma in celebration of the Vivaldi Four Seasons 60th Anniversary World Tour. And it was me. I made the request if I may be the soloist for their tour. They thought, they could assume, hey, this guy's crazy. What's he saying? Put it in spam. But you know what? They said yes. And they replied within 2 minutes. That was a very short time because they are a group of the world's most prestigious chamber orchestra in the world. These are third and fourth generation members whose parents and uncles and aunts used to lead as a very reputable chamber orchestra. But you know what? Leaders, they're very modest. They're wide open, open-hearted, and they're very accepting. Same story with London Symphony. The reason why I had the great honor and pleasure to work with the London Symphony in 1997, maybe Professor Ha, with his K-pop multimedia classes, he would know. We asked Korea's KBS orchestra first if we can collaborate on a symphonic rock project together. They said no. They said popular music is lower class. We're high class. We're not with you. No. We're not going to work with you. So we had no choice to go abroad. And maybe in the 90s, it's not common for a musician to reach out internationally, but I'm glad we did. And so, okay, who are the best orchestras that we could dream of working together with? Number one was London Symphony. Number two, something like that. So I just reached out, and you know what? They immediately replied yes. They thought it was phenomenal. Wow, a rock band from South Korea. They reached out to us through fax, not even email. And I called them, and they're so nice, and they're happily amused. And I told them, I respect Horst so much, Gustav Horst, and I think he's from London. And in fact, they said yes. His residence is right across the street from where our office is. So that's where they are, in London. So a lot of these coincidences came together. So nearby was Metropolis Studio, and I went there, and I saw Metallica recording in the other room. That was crazy. So, hey, you should have given me a heads up how great the studio is. So there's Metallica. It's like, oh, it's just another day. So it was a great environment. And I know, at the time in the 90s, Korea and Japan relations, not as, as good as it could have been. But I had no choice. I reached out to Tokyo Symphony, and we recorded and worked on Here I Stand For You, which is a #1 hit at the time. I wanted to perform with Korea's KBS Orchestra, but unfortunately, they weren't open to it yet. But after we sold millions and millions of copies of our albums, then they changed the rule. Then the Sejong Art Center realized, oh, that's the son of so-and-so from back in the day. And they invited us to perform. So it happened after time.
So it was mentioned earlier that you've been inducted into the Hollywood Rock Walk of Fame, which was a truly historic moment. When honors like that come your way, how do you interpret them, not just as achievements, but as like milestones on your artistic journey?
I think it's a praise, and it's a signal to, of course, honor you, but it's a praise to support your continued endeavor in the rightful way. And as in the common sense of this world, when you receive something, it's always great to give back. So I think it's a signal to society to give back, which is great. And I've been very gracious to have received so much support, love and support from the people over the years. So I was able to utilize some of these resources that I've been able to obtain and give back. And my father was an orphan of the Korean War. His origin used to be the northern side. But at 7 years old, he had to walk for 6 days from Pyongyang to Busan by walk with a lot of people together in lines, because literally that's what he went through, and there's no other choice if you want to stay alive. So with that remembrance, I wanted to go back to people who need parents, or who would have been nice to be supported with guitar and music. So I was very thankful that Yamaha Music Korea would honor me with entry-level guitars as much as I like. So I said, oh, well, can I have 1,000? And they said, oh, okay. And what are you going to do with it? I'm going to reach out to the orphans and people in need, and I'm going to teach them guitar, if that's okay with you. And can you help me? And they thought it was a great idea. So, and if you want, to make it fair, if you want to promote it with Yamaha Music School, you're welcome to do so. So it was a great look for everybody. I worked out on every angle, and I think that's how society works. We collaborate together in different functions. Today, some of my students are leading each sector. For instance, SM Entertainment is over 20 years of the biggest K-pop label in the K-pop industry. So the head of the SM Academy, where they train the trainees, is my former student. I'm very proud of her. So, and also my student is the head of entertainment at MBC Television, Woo Sung-jang. He used to be my student. He's a guitar student out of all students. I told him, if you want to be successful in guitar, you need to be the one to hire the guitarist, be a producer or something above the social tree, so to speak. And guess what? We can talk and not make things happen. That's okay. I told him that. But he really became the biggest producer in South Korea. So these are some examples of success. And I think the key, again, was diligence, hard work, and just keep going and work when others are sleeping.
That's great. So I know you're really busy with everything else you have going on, but when you do get those moments to sit down with a guitar, whether it's to compose, improvise, work on a piece you've done before, what's guiding your choices? And how do you keep your playing curious and innovative after so many years on stage?
What fascinates me is the dynamics of classical music. I could never get sick of Vivaldi Four Seasons for so many reasons. And one of them would be the volume dynamics of how that is used and interpreted to express the music in certain ways. So loudness and volume, pianissimo or forte, like those differences they could never get old with beautiful melody lines. So actually the biggest teachers in music for me had been the classical music legends, and I enjoy a lot of the earlier generation, jazz and blues, when the genre was just giving its birth, actually, before becoming finalized, so to speak, because every music style change over time, and it moves on to different trends. For instance, before this K-pop era, we used to have the EDM, and rap was, hip hop was big, and heavy metal and rock, if not rock. And disco dance, and back to the Beatles. So there are certain times, but I personally find it fascinating to find things at an earlier phase, and I like startups for music, culture, companies, ideas, and I like to see the development.
That's great. I think I have one more question here before we switch again. Looking back, was there a moment when things didn't work out the way that you expected? It could be an album, a collaboration, a career turn or evolution, but that failure wound up shaping you more than success ever could.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes. I remember when the first days of internet and search platforms happened, and I was mostly active, in Korea. So most people would write comments about us and me on Naver.com. So can you imagine being the biggest stars in the country, and suddenly this platform appears, and you see all these comments for the first time. They're talking about you. They say, "Oh, I don't like his hair. I don't like, that shoe is weird," or "Oh, he has short legs," or, all these comments. These are the first phases. And that's when we were not accustomed to these bad comments online, but we just came to a realization. I think maybe Professor Ha would remember. One of our friends used to be the top female celebrity who was on every commercial, and she's like a diva that everybody loved. But suddenly, internet happened, and Korea promoted fast internet for fast development, and it was actually led by Samsung Corporation's Gun-hee Lee, and he wanted to host a gaming Olympics with Kim Se Hwang, who was residing in Yongsan, Seoul, Korea at the time, with the first days of NVIDIA. So that hit hard. And for guys, it's okay. Like, yeah, well, whatever. We're guys, we'll be strong. It's all right. But, some artists are crying. Like, oh, they're talking about so bad about me. I can't take it. And these are the first days again. And so, yeah, the lady that we knew well, unfortunately, she committed suicide to herself. Yeah, because she couldn't take the pressure. And sadly so, it happened again and again, especially for female celebrities. And there was a time after multiple success with Next and Novasonic, I faced first album failure after 14 years since debut. That was the first album failure. And I didn't realize that what a gamble it is in our industry. Every time we make music, we spend like a year on average, and that was a lot of dedication and time to put in throughout the year for a result. It's just like doing crops, agriculture business. And one year, for the first time, we flopped. But when I say flop, I don't mean it in a musical sense. The music's amazing. The music is beautiful. And everybody that listened to the music, they loved it. But it didn't do well commercially. So that was a hard lesson learned. Oh, I get it now. The product doesn't matter if people don't know it even exists. So the problem with that album, which was Novasonic's fourth album, was that it failed in marketing. And honestly, I could see why now. The scene was crowded with beautiful girl groups. They were dominating the scene. If you look at the K-pop charts from 1 to 10, everything was like upbeat, happy melody. Like people wanted to be cheerful. So I wasn't paying attention to the environment. So we were too serious. So the times were changing, the environment was changing, so we were late on adaptations. So that's a hard lesson learned.
Yeah. Excellent. I can turn it back over to you.
Fantastic. Well, I think just continuing the conversation about how the intersection of music and business comes together, the strategy and the creativeness, I'd like to ask him your thoughts about how musicians can think more entrepreneurially, and as business professionals, how can they think more creatively?
Entrepreneurially.
How can the artist think more entrepreneurially, and how can the business professional think more creatively?
Right. In connection to the previous answer, the reason we failed was because we weren't prepared business-wise. We were just musicians, and I was thinking like a musician. So I hit myself in the head, like, man, if I want to keep this job, I can't lose millions of dollars again. Like, we can't keep doing this, or we're gonna have to, stop. So that's a hard lesson learned after failure, and we've had multiple failures, but later realized, oh, failure is the great mother to success. After failures, you know exactly what you did wrong. So after these failures, I look back at our own selves and knew exactly why we failed. So those are the best lessons learned in life to continue our endeavors. And I guess it's valuable to be able to share your opinions and experiences with people you work with. So that's, I think, the situation in the recent years. And it's been very fruitful and very thankful for the opportunities.
Thank you. Sounds good. Kind of in aligned with that is thinking about artists as a brand, and globally today, what values matter most for long-term sustainability in K-pop brands?
I would, in my shoes, I see two sides to this, two methods. There's the traditional method, and there's the chasing away and going the other way and getting in the back method. So the traditional in-the-face method, one has to be prepared fully, including economical funding and infrastructure and power. Basically, you have to already be the biggest corporation. That's the traditional way. My continued way of escaping the on-throttle, face-to-face method with the market, don't do that. It can be ineffective if you don't have the infrastructure versus your competitor. So escape, don't use the same method that the powerful people are using, because everybody's using it. We'll never win. So we have to go around and figure out other methods. So the strategy that worked for me was just leave myself and my opinions at home. When I leave home and when I go to the office and when I'm with the execs and shareholders, I need to satisfy their agenda. They're relying on me. Korean people, Korean businesses, they used to make fun of people in the entertainment industry in the previous generation. Today, everybody's chasing us and relying on us to perform at the top tier. They don't make fun of us anymore. And they want to work with us and they want to invest in us. So we want to be efficient in the results and efficient in the process. And I will have to say, and fellow Koreans are going to laugh, 빨리 빨리, which means fast. And the reason why 빨리 빨리, it's actually, 빨 is 8, E is 2. So actually you could express go fast with numbers, 8282. And when Americans visited Korea, everybody was saying 빨리 빨리 in every sentence. So they thought, oh, what's that word? Like, what's 빨리 빨리? It means fast. So it's very common that everybody uses that word abbreviation in every sentence. So being fast is, I don't think I've ever seen anybody else on earth who like being fast in what they do as much.
Yeah, that's good. I'd like to just ask or change the flow just a little bit to focus on the career perspectives and pathways. That it's any guidance or insights you have for our students about what kind of global careers and creative or entertainment industries that they should be considering as they're, continuing their education and after graduation.
I have some good news. Korean people, I know for sure by heart, they want to work with you. They want to work with people, especially in the current region, right now, right here. They want to hang around, they want to take pictures, they want to collaborate. And if I may express, it looks kind of cool. It's a good look because there is an audience of shareholders who have shares of their companies, and they have to do news briefings and market share briefings, and they want to perform well. And actually right now, they've been hitting the historical marks with high numbers recently, and they want to move their infrastructure to, I know they made huge investments in Alabama, Georgia, nearby. So that's the good news part. I don't think there's this much as good news in California, so to speak, or Seattle, or New York. So this is it, right here, right now. This is where the new opportunities are coming. So don't be afraid to knock on the doors and just keep going and work on your craft and talent. And I know for sure the other partner is hungry to collaborate. I know that by heart. So at least from our avenue, that's what it is. So just so that you're aware, please.
Yeah, thank you. That's great advice. Are there any emerging skills that students need to learn? The AI or how the AI is being used in the industry from music and the business side of music. Anything the next generation of creatives and entertainment professionals should consider?
Oh, well, I will have to say this. I'm sorry, but you have to get accustomed to AI, is my opinion. And I know people who majored in computer science and engineering, they're amazed that all the previous generation of functions done by undergraduate level can be performed similarly, shorter, with efficiency, which means using less power, using AI. But it's not going to take our jobs away. It just makes things more efficient and complex because of the accessibility and availability of mechanical opportunities, so to speak. So our roles is not do the coding itself now, but make the AI do the coding, but you have to administer. And this is the most important part. What is the intention to do what we're doing? So that would be the future role of, I would say, our students after their graduation. And if one would like to stick to the previous methods without enough innovation or evolution, then yes, if you're gonna keep doing what you've been doing previously, perhaps that's a high possibility of the occupations being taken away by machines. But to be the manager of these machines, that's coming. Then there's more opportunities, more valuable opportunities that's coming, is our opinion. So we were recently at CES, and I was the main judge this year for beauty tech. And the hot topic was AI, robotics, and chips. So these three core parts would put together the near future for us. And we'll have to see how the world evolves. But there are some signals that, for instance, a certain car manufacturer, like 99% will be robots. There will be no human there. And it's already in place. But the human employees that are there are the ones managing and in maintenance of these robots working. And because robots are working, it has actually the Korean mentality. I keep saying Koreans never sleep, right? But if we don't sleep at all, we can't survive. But that's how hard they try to work and how hard they want to work. So they can put these robots to work all the time with no recess. That's why they love it so much. So it's not coming. It's already here. It's already here, and it's very nearby. It already came. So that would be my advice to the students. Don't look at things on the outer side. Try to find your role in the way that you can. I would advise be the administrator of the intentions.
You had shared with me that there's a growing desire for more Americans to work in Korea too in leadership roles. So that's opportunities for students to explore there as well. Yeah. Well, we're going to change directions a little bit and take some questions from the audience. And Professor Ha with Media Studies is going to moderate the Q&A session. And so we ask that if you have any questions, raise your hand, and Professor Ha will come to you and let you ask your question.
Please, if you have a question, please raise your hand as fast as you can. Bali Bali in Korean way.
Should I stand up or just like sit? Stand. Okay. 안녕하세요. 먼저 한국인이라서 인사를 드리고 싶었고, yeah, I'm Korean as well, so I say hi to him. But I got a question related to K-pop because you just mentioned about K-pop industry related government as well. But my question is that K-pop industry is booming in America or other countries as well, but countries like Japan with anime or like French or German arts like build culture ecosystem like sustainable like cultural development, right? So for K-pop to have similar long-term cultural influence, how do you think Korea should approach global promotion differently from what is from now on? And I know you work in the 50-50. I'm a big fan of 50-50 as well. Just want to mention that.
So kind. Thank you so much. My answer, my suggestion personally, and I'm really grateful that I get to have this opportunity, most because I'm able to say this. I have the voice right now to say whatever I can. So it was actually in my agenda to get rid of the K hyphen. I told South Korean government, hey guys, dude, you need to get rid of K hyphen. Why are you doing that? Basically, I feel that was the agenda of the employees of the government. They wanted a stamp that they could act like and they have a role in the success. They have a saying, it's like putting a spoon in the cooked dish. It's already prepared by the most successful companies, Samsung, LG, SM Entertainment, Hybe, a music company. Company evaluation is over $12 billion because of BTS. It's the diplomacy of the government that put the K in the front. So I think definitely from now, I'm really happy for the success of K-pop Demon Hunters because it's not a Korean production. It's a US production by Sony Pictures. They're in Hollywood. And the distributor is not a Korean distributor. It's Netflix. It's an American company. That's why I love it so much. If a genre is successful, it should not be limited to nationality or region. The culture can be performed by anyone on earth and enjoyed by anyone on earth. It's my personal opinion. So this just happened just yesterday, right? K-pop Demon Hunters won a Grammy. So I'm very happy to see the full process of shared opportunities of the K-pop resources.
Very good. And you have a new role coming up next year. You mentioned with the Grammys. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, yes. So the Recording Academy has, it's consisted of 40 board members who are the primary voice of the voting system. So they recently invited me to work on the consecutive years from now. And the reason being is it's kind of obvious, like when we look back at our sons and daughters who are under 10 years old, like, a song Golden, like how they would respond to the song. They like it so much, I guess. But it's funny, the members in the academy, they don't know the song. Oh, you can relate to this. See? They don't know Golden. And even if they hear it, to them, it's not a musical masterpiece, so to speak. And I could understand that. I work with Chick Corea, and Chick Corea guided me to that path. And I listened to him when I was in school, and I learned his music. So I could understand both sides. I think K-pop, especially K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack, if you have the time, please have at least one listen and check it out. It's made by friends that I've known for over 30 years, and I'm really happy for Teddy and Black Label and the company. I remember like yesterday when they just debuted, and we were like the older brothers who were just showing them around the dressing rooms and being nice to them, and don't cry, don't be scared, it's okay, when they just debuted. So just a few days ago, they finally became the first people from the K-pop community to win a Grammy now. So they needed somebody who could interpret why K-pop can be a music genre, and why it can be appreciated, and they needed a voice. So out of all people, they invited me, and actually it was Se Hwang, the chairman of HYBE, was invited 2 years ago. The problem is he never attends. So they want him to come and explain about why BTS is so big, but they're not interested, I guess. I don't know.
So just to branch off here for a moment, you mentioned the fact that the K-pop Demon Hunters is kind of a westernization, essentially, right? It's American company, it's Netflix distribution. From your perspective, without having the machinery that you've talked about, where there's marketing, there's the most valuable part of it, which is merchandise, how do you feel this release has differed from if it had been done through the traditional K-pop machinery? Now, I'm eyeing mainly merchandise due to the fact that we're only seeing merchandise releases tied in Q3 26 to a Q2 25 release, which seems weird to me. So over almost a year since the release of the film, we'll get merchandise. Does that seem strange based off of the typical K-pop machinery and release dates?
Okay, I hope I understood the question correctly. It has some reverb and delay.
Yeah.
Please excuse me if I misunderstood. But at the screening, I heard this from my friends who were at the screening. I was not invited to the screening in Hollywood, and there were they had the Egyptian theater at the time at the screening with the cast and all. There were less than 40 people. They thought it was gonna fail, and it was produced out of format or formality. It just felt like K-pop's one of the successful genres, so why don't we try it? But people weren't really interested even after release. So everybody who were at that screening that day, they're like best friends now. Can you imagine? Because they took pictures and with a rather small crowd in comparison to other major films today being released. So it was totally unexpected, and you mentioned merchandise. Because it was not expected to succeed, they didn't prepare any merch.
Right.
That's so funny. So what happened is, if you look at the Saja Boys, which is the boy group character, and they wear these hats. And I think Professor Ha and his Korean friends would know, those hats, they sell them at the museum in Seoul, and nobody buys them. And the price is surprisingly very, very low. But what happened is, because Sony Pictures and Netflix, they didn't make any merch in preparation, so that museum, they had an emergency. So people are buying all these hats. And they didn't expect this, and it's not even an official merch.
Right.
So the museum's like, okay, well, over decades, nobody buys these hats. It's like maybe one or two a year. But suddenly, they're out of stock, so they're asking all these factories to please give us the hats, please. We'll just give you whatever you can. So it's official on the news. So the day it's in, the day it's out. That's what's been happening.
Hi, thank you so much for speaking with us. My name is Malkia. I'm an international business major, and after I graduate, I want to go into the music industry. So my question for you is, what ways could future creatives or professionals connect with global agencies like Be Interactive, and what are the biggest skills that you guys are looking for?
Oh, okay. That's very easy. K-pop industry now has evolved so much. I wish we would have met back in 2017, perhaps, before the success of today's biggest K-pop artists. At the time, we were looking for friends locally. We needed friends who would be able to help us and care about us. But it's funny how life changes in such a short time. By 2020, that company changed their name to Hybe. And they used to be called Big Kid Entertainment, and Lenzo Yoon used to be the USA CEO. And in August of 2020, he acquired Scooter Brown Projects, $1 billion cash. Like, bam! That's what Scooter wanted. So do I get Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez, etc.? See, 2017, 2020, only 3-4 years, very short time. So market was ready, it was just late on the delivery is by results. So now we're meeting. I'd be very happy to share my personal contact with you. So networking by lesson is our primary agenda. It's very valuable and precious to be together and spend time together, which I've been so fortunate to do so here in the beautiful Columbia, South Carolina. I love it here. So since we're here, if you would like to, please, we could share contacts, and we're expanding. We just had a new #1 just back in December. So, we're going to look for other avenues and opportunities ourselves. And we would love to be the bridge so that you could enjoy much bigger and better companies than we are, such as JYP. So JYP Entertainment, he's the right-hand man for the president of South Korea right now. He's the head of K-pop right now. So, and he's in a bigger, better position than I am. So I would want to try to pursue to be helpful to you somehow, if you would like that opportunity. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, maybe one more question? Yeah.
Thank you. Hi there. My name is Michelle Gruters, and I'm a first-year international MBA student. And the question I had for you is, with the aging population and potential increase in immigration, how do you see that impacting the future of K-pop?
See, that's why I said what I said. I was in Hanyang University and I updated the curriculum because I thought it was outdated and students are not going to get jobs. That's what I said. And I was able to do so because basically, people knew who I was. So I wanted to work in good fortune for our students. So they're literally like CEOs and VPs in the scene right now. And, they're so nice to, give me a contact and help me out once in a while too, because, some of them are bigger than I am. But see, 20 years later in South Korea, I'm not sure if we're going to have enough students in school. From this year, even in the capital city of Seoul, we saw the first school with no student entering elementary school now. So they're going to get rid of the elementary school's function and they're going to change it to something else because you have that whole complex and, what can you do? But because of the aging population, Japan had gone through this 20 to 30 years previously. So I did monitor and learn that Silver Town business is a good business to prepare. It's very, very good. And if we go to some areas in Orange County, California, like maybe even San Diego. There are some beautiful regions there. And I think those are like role model, luxury, high-end silver towns that we could model. So Elon Musk even recently said on the news, like after 20 years from now, North Korea, they don't even need weapons. They could just walk to South Korea and conquer it because there's nobody there. See, so basically, that's why we need to be invitational with our success and collaborate with the chemistry that works together for the better being together. So I know, like Japan is very much like that. They want to be, they don't want to mix that much. Basically, they just want to be themselves, and they're asking foreigners to please don't come. But Korea is not to that extent. But there used to be that culture in a way. But we're always thankful to Americans, though, because of the survival and the education and the successful paths that it had learned over the years. So the impact of decline in population, yes, it's right here, right now, and it's very impactful. It's to a very surprising rate. So I would put that into consideration for your future great endeavors. And with the aging demographic, I'm sure there's other opportunities that are arising. So from my avenue is Silver Towns.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights. We would like to transition now to hear you perform. A very special treat for us. So if we give us a second to set up for that, we can transition.
Please. Okay.
Okay.
It's been some minutes talking on stage, so can we have like a few minutes of recess and start performing?
Take a quick break.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
if that's okay.
All right, so give us a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Okay. All right. Thank you, Se Hwang, so much for being with us tonight and sharing and performing for us. It was amazing. And we welcome you to come back anytime. And thank you all for joining tonight. And we hope to see you at our next Pathways series. Thank you.